Hello, how are you, sweetheart?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. What a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Oh man, no, thank you for asking me. I'm so excited.
I mean, I've been excited to chat to you for a while now. Firstly, Happy New Year.
Thank you, thank
I know,
you.
I know we're like 15 days in, but who's counting at this point?
Exactly.
To be honest, it's my third interview this year, so I can still say that it's fine.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you got time for that. How are you feeling for the year ahead? Because it looks like you're already on a busy route already for yourself.
Man, I'm feeling really good. So far this year has kind of like really just popped off with like a lot of different things. So I'm gonna be performing next month, and we're just solidifying like another video. So it's been pretty exciting, really. And we record always. Like I'm always working and recording, so it's been pretty exciting.
Yeah, because I saw that on your IG stories that you already done your first recording. I think it's
Right.
like earlier this week. So
Yeah.
you ain't wasting no time.
Not at all.
Not at all. I wanted to actually talk about how I came across you.
Yeah.
So I was interviewing Neilà just last week.
Okay.
Who you featured on her EP Watch Your Signs,
Yep.
deluxe EP,
Love her.
with the track Blue. She loves you too.
Yeah.
When I was speaking to her, she spoke so highly of you in terms of
Yeah.
the way your vibe is and how angelic your voice sounds.
Oh.
So she rates the world that you stand on. Like she thinks that you're
Oh my
absolutely
goodness.
beautiful.
She's so amazing. And like even just with us like doing the record together, it just flowed like so smooth, like both of our vibe was just there. We were just on the same page about everything. We had really good conversations. So I was just happy to be a part, honestly, because I've always liked Neilà. I've always seen her around, like just, Atlanta and stuff. I would hear her music, see her performances. So it was cool that we finally got to link up like that and actually work on something.
And it's mad as well because when I was listening to the track Blue, and this is before like I was closing my eyes, imagining like the voice before seeing who you are and stuff,
Yeah.
and my vibe was Jene Iku like straight
Oh
away.
wow.
This is what I was thinking before
Yeah.
acknowledging fully that this is you and your unique angelic voice coming into the
Thank
mix.
you.
For you, like how important, especially like, you've been doing solo since 2015, like how important is it for you to, work, build organic connections with people, especially like being an independent artist? How important is that for you?
I think it's really important, considering the fact that like when you are independent, you don't have this like major label machine. And so it's really important to like connect with your peers and connect with all the people who are around you. I think for me, really, I've always just been very strategic, like with my features and who I have featured on my records. Just because like I never want to send an artist something and it's not their vibe and like they're
Mm,
just doing it just because like, it's like, oh, this is Beja, like whatever. But I actually want the artist to like the song and match the vibe of the artist that I want on it. But I
mm,
think it's really important to build those like genuine connections and relationships because ultimately, like, it really helps further you along too. And then your name ends up being in rooms that you're not even in. Like with me, I always try to be very pleasant, firm and straightforward, but still very pleasant when I'm working with people
mm.
and just give everybody a good vibe because that just goes like it goes such a long way. When people have a session with you or an interaction with you and they're like, dang, like she was actually really cool aside from everything
Mm,
else, like the work that we did, like she was really a cool person. So
mm.
it's very important. It just makes you more likable. And I mean, not that anybody's striving to be likable by anybody else, but you still want to be liked by your peers and,
Mm.
everybody around you who's involved in the industry that you're involved in.
And I guess like, your sort of philosophy, like being, as straightforward as you are, but, nice, but also at the same time being strategic. And
Right.
I guess that's to do with, growing up with your parents, especially like that your parents having a fundamental part of your every facet of your career,
Yeah, for sure.
whether it been the OMG Girls days or your single career. So, and even your mum, like, doing a few covers with you. I'm thinking like if I would ask my mum to do a cover with me, she would say to me like to piss off, and you know what I mean. So
Well, the crazy thing about it is like with me, and my mom especially, like my mom, she's always been very firm that she's like not in, you know, in the industry. Like she's not an industry person. She's just kind of always been around. And, you know, when it comes to like my mom especially, she's definitely been very, very supportive of me. She's been very easygoing with me. And also my mom, you know, she's just always here to help. Like she never influences me to do anything or tries to force me to do anything. Like ever since I've been a kid, she pretty much just goes with my flow. And even right now, just with being a solo artist, you know, it's like my mom, she's very much just like, hey, I'm in the background. I'm here if you need me, or like, you know, if you need help or anything, but you know, this is like your thing. So
Mm.
that's like the cool part, you know, about my mom,
Mm.
especially. She's just very much low key, she's laid back. She actually do my nails, so like she's a nail tech, and you know, it's like she's just chill, you know, but she's super helpful.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, it sounds like, you know, your mum is active in every part of what you do. So it just seems like, you know, whether it be any ups or downs, you know, how the industry would be sometimes, it must be that no matter what you go through, like your mum's always got your back.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We move like a family unit, like all of my family, my mom, my dad, everybody, like my sister, everyone is super supportive of what I'm doing and has always done nothing but try to help me, you know, get to where I am and where I'm also trying to go still right now. So it's definitely really cool to have a supportive family behind you.
Mm. I mean, there's so many ways of having support. I mean, you know, my way of support with my mum is just supporting my career. You know, she doesn't really know the industry that tough, but she'll look at
Yeah.
things from a distance, but know that, you know, she knows how passionate I am. And I guess seeing that
Right.
your mum is passionate about what you're doing, she's like, okay, cool, whatever you want to do, I'm with you all the way.
Absolutely.
You know,
That's so her. Like
yeah. She's down for whatever, man. I know I got to big up
absolutely.
your family, man. Big up your mum as well for that.
Thank you.
And I know that, of course, like, you know, it's been well documented. You know, I just want to touch briefly, of course, like the early stages of, you know, OMG Girlz and, you know,
Yeah.
tiny form of you guys. And you had a great run as a group, you know, great family ties as well, like that. It's well documented. But what I
Yeah.
wanted to get into is like, what are the biggest lessons that you've learned that have prepped you in getting ready for your solo career? Because you've had a lot of good family ties and connections
Yeah.
already.
I really think just the things that I learned, just young and coming up in the industry, and especially when I was in OMG Girlz, it was just, you know, like things about like publishing and, you know, how important it is to write, how important it is to own your stuff. And I think right now in the industry, we're seeing this really big wave of like artists wanting to be independent and artists wanting to have their own labels or have more of, not more of, but have more ownership in
Mm,
the music that they're creating and they're putting out. And it's like that was something that was being talked about to me when I was 12, 13.
mm,
You know, so it's like I always had, even when we signed to a major label, you know, I always had this knowledge of just like how important it was to just own my stuff.
mm,
And, you know, I think too, what also helped in those early stages is being a part of that machine so young. So it's like now with me being an independent artist, like I have no problem with major labels, honestly. I feel
mm,
like if the paperwork, you know what I'm saying, is right and everything on paper looks good, your lawyer feels like this is something that's beneficial to you, then for sure, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I do think the major labels, they have something that, you know, independent artists don't have. And that's just like that machine, those connections
mm,
that you'll get, you know. But I personally felt like me being signed to a major label and then an independent artist, you know, it really showed me a lot, you know. So I think
mm,
those lessons that I got, like studio etiquette, you know, interview etiquette, how to carry yourself, you know, as an artist, as a lady, you know, certain things were just priceless, you know, because I look at the industry now and I'm like, okay, like I love what everybody's doing, but it's like just so interesting to me to see that whole wave of like independence come. Like everybody wants to be independent, but it's like independence was something that was taught to me, you know, as a preteen teenager, you know. So
mm.
now I'm like a little bit more seasoned when it comes to my business. So
And of course, it's like, you know, you doing it from so young as well. Like you've already had a lot of exposure, understanding the industry
yeah.
before now, you know, even your 20s, and you're just like, you're prepared for everything that might come forward for you. So I guess it sounds like you had a head start in everything. So now it's like you be comfortable with what gets thrown at you.
Yeah, like, with me, it's like I still know that I have, a way, like a ways to go, just me personally for things that I want to accomplish, But it definitely seasoned me. It definitely made me, the solo artist that I am today. And a lot of things that, I've learned just all throughout my journey in the industry have really seasoned me and made me be who I am right now and operate the way that I do within my business and
Mm,
within my career. So it's a blessing, really. I
mm.
can't even lie. It was a blessing. That was a beautiful, I really enjoyed my start. I really enjoyed being an OMG girl, and I enjoy being a solo artist as well. But I'm just glad I was able to get that training, that those
Mm.
that knowledge before I jumped off the porch and just wanted to be a solo artist and had no idea what I was doing or even getting myself into.
And it just reminds me of, like, whether you work a 9 to 5, you start off as an employee, then you build up to
Yeah.
management, then you build up to like own, well, not necessarily owner, but like head office. And it's
Right.
like the more training you get, the more experienced that you are, and like you said, the
Absolutely.
well seasoned you are. So for you now, like you're ready. Like,
Yeah.
everything's come at you, and it's beautiful how things have turned out for you and still going on for you. And I feel like you have a sense of longevity knowing that you've had that experience from young anyway.
Thank you so much. No, I really appreciate that. I just try to, keep in mind, like, okay, yeah, there's things I know, but I'm still gonna make mistakes. And I try to, give myself the space and the opportunity to do that. It's like I'm not the same artist I was when I first started. And so I'm constantly evolving. I'm constantly, evolving in my sound, my look, like my team, so it's definitely always moving.
Yeah, it's
But
always moving. Yeah.
yeah, it's been enjoyable though, and that's
Mm,
what I can say. Like it's enjoyable. I love my team. I love the people around me. So
mm.
it's really fun.
And it looks fun from your end. We're gonna go into some of
Mhm.
your videos in a minute, but
Yeah,
just a final thing I wanted to touch on as far as like the group. When it came to like the split, because obviously, like, it was announced on Twitter what was going to happen, what was going down,
yeah,
and you girls were amicable, and you were happy to like go about your separate ways and take on solo
yeah.
careers. Take me back to like those conversations that you've had, because I mean, prepping for you going solo, being it a new experience, it must be like, oh gosh, I don't have my girls with me. How am I gonna run
Yeah.
this now? So what was that period like before you went solo to think, I'm ready for this?
I think with the group, it was like we kind of already had been kind of like discussing what was going to happen, or we were kind of in limbo about what was going to happen for maybe like maybe like a year, a few months prior to the split. And the conversations weren't really hostile or anything like that. But I do think that, with that particular period, it was just really a little scary for all of us because, and especially for me and Neek, because we had been in the group since we were 12. We had Bree, baby doll, who joined when we were like 14 or 15, and then we did the three girl thing. But it was definitely really scary because it's like, okay,
Mm,
this is brand new. And so we were navigating that part of it. We were navigating, okay, what does this look like within our friendships
mm,
with one another, and it's like, it was definitely a little scary, a little trying. But what I can say and what I appreciate about the girls and I is that we all are genuinely friends. And so anything that we might have had an issue with or whatever, like we always were very talkative and we would communicate that. And even
mm,
right now, like we're just all super cool. You know what I mean?
mm.
It was like at that point we were still young. We were just turning 18,
Yeah.
So it was just like all of it was scary. It's like, okay, we're really becoming adults and we're having this change in our career. And obviously that affected our life. But,
Mm,
it was just, I appreciate the fact that the girls and I have been able to maintain a friendship like how we have. And especially, me, Neek, and Bree. It's like I'm Zanique's daughter's godmother, and so we've still been able to maintain a really, really good friendship in spite of us not being in a group together, which is what I always wanted anyways. I never wanted us to break up and not be friends or not be cool and not be able to talk to one another. And so that was really always my biggest fear. So I'm just glad that when we did split up, it wasn't like, oh, we're not cool, we're not friends, we don't like each other. It was just very cool. It was different. It was scary. It was kind of weird, but we still were able to be cool and have conversation with one another, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean it's beautiful to see because a lot of groups, just in general, like most of them have gone their separate ways and gone nice about it, but it's always like reported there could be groups that they've always had issues with that. But what I love about this is that you've maintained your friendships, you maintained this sense of family, and that's always been continuous, and there's never been anything to suggest otherwise. I mean, do the girls play a part in terms of your solo career? Do they give like any advice to you in terms of like from 2015 till now? Like, have they been like active as far as that, or has it always been you as far as like where you're going?
Yeah, it's always been me for sure. With the girls and I, we kind of keep like this our solo stuff that we're doing. We don't really ask each other for advice or anything like that. Like, it's never a problem. Like, if one of us is shooting a video or something, like, it's never a problem for one of us to pull up. We've done that before. We pulled up to each other's sessions. So it's not like it's like beef or anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, how it goes and like just everything like that. Like, no, we all individually do our thing. Me especially, like I have my own home team that I consult with, and who pretty much handles everything for me. So
I mean, it's beautiful. I'm loving all this.
Yeah.
This is like a beautiful story. It's like the chapter of a book, the last chapter of the book. It's closed and it's a new book and it's going off on a really positive note. So I'm really loving this anyway.
Exactly. Exactly.
I wanted to touch on before I got into this, and there's something I missed, is that you're born from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes.
So I mean, before music was ever a thing, before it was even a conversation, talk to me about growing up there, and also like, what played a part in music before a career was ever in talks.
So growing up in Atlanta, it's always been really cool. Like, I always say Atlanta just because like people who aren't from Georgia, they don't really know like where I'm from, but I'm from the east side. I'm from Lithonia, Georgia. Well, Stone Mountain, Lithonia, Georgia. Okay. But it's always been pretty cool. Like, a lot of artists that we see right now come out of the east side, the 21 Savages, and people like that. So it was a really cool place to grow up. I always went to school in Atlanta though. So all of my friends and everything that I did was always in the city because that's where I went to school. Really for me, music has kind of always been a conversation. I'm not gonna lie. Like, when I was little, I always wanted to sing. And then I remember a particular incident where I was in school. I was in elementary school. And so my teachers were like very supportive of me singing, and they actually really felt that I could sing. Like, me and my friends did this little like recital thing or whatever. And so I was actually singing opera. And so yeah, like, I actually was singing opera. I had never really like, I mean, I don't even know like where I would think to like even sing like an opera singer, because I don't really remember hearing that anyway. Maybe I saw it on TV or something as a kid. And so, then when my mom came and picked me up from school that day, my teachers brought me out and they were like, listen, you really should get her into voice lessons because she really can sing. So at that particular point, like, my mom put me in voice lessons. I started singing. I would do all the graduation songs, all the recitals and stuff like that. And then that's kind of when music really came into the conversation. Once I hit middle school, it was like, okay, I like music, but I was still in school. So my mom was like, I'm gonna go to high school, go to college to be a lawyer. That was kind of what my thought process was. And then my aunt, Tiny, she called my mom and was like, basically told her to bring me to the house, that she was putting together a group for an episode, because they had a TV show, Tiny and Toya. And she was putting together this girl group for the episode. And so when it aired, people actually liked us as a group, because really it was just supposed to be an episode thing. So people actually liked it. And then that's when we became a real group. That was my introduction to the industry. And then from there, like my entire life was just music at that point. But growing up here in Atlanta, it's definitely a different vibe because it's so musically inclined. You know, like
Definitely
everything
is.
is, yeah, everything is driven by music here. You know, like our music is a big part of our economy. You know, here in Georgia and really Atlanta, especially specifically because this is where people are recording, this is where people are coming to. So it was really, really cool. I remember being a kid in like the So Def era and seeing the Welcome to Atlanta and the So Def billboard, you know, like that whole thing. So it's just kind of, in my opinion, it's really nostalgic just to kind of see. I remember all of like the OG rappers, like kind of when they were first getting started out, and now we have this like new wave of rappers, and then like I hate to call it the SoundCloud era, but that's really like where everybody was posting music at that
Right.
time. Like I remember back in that era, just being on Edgewood, being at these parties, and you know, you're watching your peers come up, you're watching everybody go to where they're trying to go. So it's really cool. It's really interesting too. Like it
Yeah.
really is.
I mean, your story is crazy. I mean, like, you know, the so deaf era, like, you know, I'm thinking Ludacris as well, like
Yeah.
in terms of that vibe of, you know, hottest Atlanta rappers, and just
Just
it's
the
just
whole
that,
crunk era.
yeah, it's just that whole
Mhm.
period was just like a golden era of, you know, it was a hot place for music. So,
For sure.
you know, and like there's so many other places. You got New York, you got LA, you got Florida, but I mean Atlanta is really like a hot spot. Like
Yeah,
you've got
like
a lot of legends there.
now all of the like the New York rappers and stuff like that, they be here in Atlanta now. A lot of people come here and they move here and they live here and they work here, and I think too a lot of it has to do with the fact that Atlanta is just such a like a black city anyways. It's a lot of black people here.
Mm.
So you're always in around and in contact with people who look like you. You have the music scene, you have the club scene, you have this budding film and TV industry now. So it's like Atlanta's kind of becoming that new like I've always thought it was Black Hollywood, but now it's really becoming like Hollywood period, you know, because everybody's here. They're shooting everything here too.
Trust, wow, and the way you translated it is like Black Hollywood to just everything in general. Like it's
Yeah,
just it's a hub. It's a massive hub.
absolutely.
I mean, I mean, if I were to come to Atlanta, because I haven't done that much traveling. Like
Yeah.
last time I traveled was to Toronto back in 2017.
Okay.
And I went to New York for the day, but I didn't really get a sense of New York because I was there in Buffalo. Who really
Yeah.
sees Buffalo as like full New York,
Yeah.
really? Like, to be honest. But if I've been speaking to quite a few artists that said their perspectives about what it's like to be in Atlanta. So from your side, forget the touristy hotspots. What are the real places I need to go if I'm coming to your side of the turf and you're tour guiding me? Where am I going?
I would say, okay, so you gotta hit Magic City. Magic City is a strip club, but it's
Yep,
like world, yeah, it's world famous. It's like it's that Magic is an experience, you know. So
mm,
that's what I'll say. I definitely think you gotta try like our soul food spots. I really like Busy Bees, honestly, down
I've
here.
heard of Busy Bees. Isn't
Yeah,
that a
Busy
chicken
Bees
spot?
is really good. Busy Bees is really good. It's like soul food. They make all this kind of stuff. It's so good. Um, and two, I'm trying to see what else. Like, really, just pretty much any brunch, day party, anything like that. Because here, like, that's a big thing. Like brunches, day parties, lounges. Pretty much everywhere you
Wow.
go to is kind of like a lounger. They have a DJ. They're playing music. And you can
Wow.
get food. People love hookah here. So it's really like if you come to Atlanta, like you'll really be able to party and have a good time. And you never know who you'll run into either. That's always the cool part. Like you could be partying and literally like Young Thug just walks in. Like, and it's like regular. Like that's how, you know, that's how it is there. It's like I feel like we have celebrities, but people don't really react like, oh my God, it's Young Thug. Cause it's like everybody in Atlanta.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone knows him, so it's like
Yeah,
you're not gonna be like a fangirl to bait him out if he's already in the same area that you live in anyway. Like I
yeah,
guess to an
exactly.
extent, I guess anyway. But I mean,
Yeah, like some people do, but I mean, I've never like I've been in the vicinity of like just celebrities walking in. You might just be pumping gas and Ludacris get out the car and he's pumping gas next to you. I remember I was at the gym and he was leaving out of the gym that I was going into, you know? So it's like, but it's just like normal. I don't know, because
Yeah.
it's like this is kind of like what you would see anyways on a typical day in Atlanta. You just really might run into like celebrities all day, and it's like everybody's just like, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you know what I mean? Like, it's not really like, oh my god. I'm sure like in other
Yeah.
cities, but you know, here the thing with Atlanta and just our culture is like everybody is like somebody here. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like it's big, but it's small. Everything is like connected. So
Mm.
you might know somebody who knows somebody that knows somebody. So nobody ever really trips on who anybody is because it's like, oh, like it's just you, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Is that you as
all
you?
of
You
that
as
stuff.
you?
Exactly. Like, it's just, I guess, like, it's just the person that you're seeing. Like, it's not really
Mm.
like a celebrity wow factor. Like, people don't, in Atlanta, I've never seen like people just fangirl about like seeing celebrities in person. Or, oh my God, like that's, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind of like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's,
Yeah,
that's the cool part about it. I think it's cool for celebrities too, because it's like they feel comfortable. You know, you're able to
true.
go out and you can eat and do whatever you want to do, and you feel comfortable. People are not, oh, can I get a picture? Can I, you know what I mean, get an
Mm.
autograph? Like, it's very just
It's
chill.
chilled.
Everybody's doing their own thing.
Have you ever been starstruck at any point?
I think the only time I was like, whoa, like, wow, was we had met Andre 3000,
Wow.
and we actually we were at the studio here called Tree Sounds, and he was working on a verse for Tip actually. And so Tip took us in there to meet him, and that was like the first time where I really was like, whoa, like this is actually like Andre 3000, and I'm watching him create, which was even crazier because it's like that's so rare, but he was just going so crazy. Like that was the only time I was like, okay, oh my god. But I really did keep it together though. Like I didn't fangirl in there or nothing like that. But when we left out, like all of us were though, we always like, oh my god, we cannot believe that we just met Andre 3000. Like, what are the odds of that? And like he gave us some advice and everything. So it was like
Mm.
really cool. Like
What was the advice that Andre 3000 give you? Because I mean, for you to like not fangirl, but just like
yeah.
appreciate so much that how much of a legend he is. So, what's the best advice he's ever given you?
Really he was just like be original. You know, he's like, you
Mm.
never want to come to a picnic and you bring peas and somebody else brought peas. Now it's a competition on who has the best peas.
Oof.
But if somebody else bring peas and you bring apple pie, it's not a comparison.
Mm.
You know, like so his thing was just like always just be yourself. Like that was really the only thing, the only advice that he gave us was like just stay true to like who we are and be ourselves. And honestly, like, you know, it's like I've heard that, you know, just all through my life, be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. But when he said it, it was a bit different because he actually is like a very original person, a very, even just from the jump, him and Big Boy, both of them, you know what I mean? They dressed how
Legends.
they wanted to, they made music how they wanted to, they rapped how they wanted to. And so just to kind of like hear that from him, it definitely was like, oh nah, like I really got to be different because this is a different type of guy that I'm talking to. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was really cool advice, and it definitely stuck with me for sure.
And speaking like of opinions and stuff like that, like it's interesting you say that because we're in a world now, especially with social media, like everyone has an opinion, everyone has a voice.
Yep.
Obviously your time when you first started, it wasn't as prominent. The only people you really had to care about opinions, I guess, so much is like the people that you were tying with, your family, obviously Ti and Tiny and other connects that you had.
Yeah.
And obviously now though, like every Tom, Dick, and Harry has an opinion on you. Well,
Facts.
were more accessible as well. Whereas that before,
Yeah.
you had like for me when I first started doing this, I literally had to like go by word of mouth of who do I speak with for like an interview or something like that. Whereas nowadays,
Yeah.
like you can just find an email on an IG page and you're accessible straight away, pretty much.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's beautiful though because that's how I got to talk to you today, and it's
Yeah.
a beautiful thing. But I mean, how for you now? Like, what do you feel like the differences are as far as the social media now? Like, sometimes can be a bit toxic. So, what was your experience of then starting off till now? Like, how things evolved in that way to you growing up as well?
Yeah, see with me, I was like a MySpace kid, URLs, coding, all of that. All of us were coding on MySpace.
Mm.
So I was really into MySpace.
I
Um,
coded as well, just to let you
yeah,
know. Like
exactly.
I
Like
was
it was
literally
just
doing designs for people. That was the way of getting money
cool.
at the time. Trust
Me
me.
too. So, it was just like that was I still remember having to get out the bed and get on the internet, and
Yes.
so it's like when I was in OMG, Twitter and Instagram were just becoming a popular thing.
Mm.
So, as a teenager, I was kind of always met with like people like talking about me or saying mean stuff. When I was a teenager, of course, like I would respond back and, do my big one and go in, but now it's like I don't pay attention to, just opinions. Opinions are
Mm.
opinions and people are going to have them. But I feel like, in this day and age, it's so important to just know who you are and be happy with that because everybody does have an opinion. So you're hearing a lot of different things or ways or how you should dress, how you should look, how you should sound. I feel like her video should have been like that. I feel like her makeup should have did this. You know what I mean? Like, so it's constant. People being like, okay, well, I feel like, I think, and you just kind of have to know who you are because once you know who you are, like what people think and what they feel, it never really matters, And
Mm.
for me, it's like anything, I don't really get negative comments anymore.
Mm.
But even when I do, like, I just block it and keep it moving. Like, I think it's just important to, exactly, like,
Mm.
just get that out your space
Mm.
because people aren't always going to like what you're doing. People aren't always going to like how you dress or how you sound or what your hair looks like, what your outfit is, what your makeup looks like. So it's kind of like you just got to do what you feel like makes you happy. And if a vast majority of people like it, then who cares about the small handful of people that don't? So that's just how I look at it.
I mean, I gotta click that because it's amazing. Like there's a lot of opinions out there, especially like the current climate that we're in. Like this whole
Yeah.
pandemic, like everyone's got an opinion about something. And what I've been learning is just to there's a mantra I always say, which is control the controllable. And I learnt this last
Yeah.
year. And it's a thing of like, you can only control your own thoughts. You can't control what someone else believes or what someone else
Exactly.
thinks and does. So for me, it's just like, as long as I'm confident in myself to do what I feel is right for me, doesn't matter what anyone else does. Like,
Exactly.
you know,
It doesn't.
yeah.
It really doesn't.
Mm. And I mean, of course,
What are
like
you?
it just seems that you're strong-willed. So that just summarizes your character, I guess.
Yeah, it just, for me, it's like a situation where I've always marched to the beat of my own drum. I've always been a leader. I've never, been a follower, whether it was in my friend groups or anything like that. So I'm very sure of who I am, and I think that translates into my brand and my music. And I think my fans pick up on it too because they're like, okay, like this girl know, like she know what she's talking about, you know.
She definitely know
So
what you're
that's
talking about,
like
man.
yeah, so that's me and the thing, with my music and even with my brand, I try to promote just a sense of self and also just like a whole luxurious vibe. Like the luxury
Mm.
to know who you are, the luxury to be able to do what you want to do, the luxury to not let somebody get you in your feelings and have you all heartbroken. Like my brand is just it exudes luxury, but not in a money way or a materialistic way. It's more so about the luxury to just live our lives and be happy
Mm.
and do what we want to do. And I think that's why my fans and especially my core, I think that's why they really, really rock with me and they relate because they feel like they can relate. It
Mm.
doesn't feel too unrelatable. It feels like, okay, this girl really knows me. Like she really knows what I'm going through. She knows like my struggle. She feels that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's really just how I try to that's really how I handle it,
Yeah.
because I know who I am. I just want to give other people who listen to my music the same sense of self I have, like a soundtrack for that.
Yeah, you definitely sound relatable because I mean, even from your videos, I mean, from Lipstick,
Thank you.
to My Life, to even your latest one, like the Keep Up, Time Up, merge
Thank
of
you.
videos. I mean, it shows me an evolution of how visually you can push the envelope
Yeah.
because I mean, I can see that you're openly expressive. I mean, it's some of the outfits. I'm in like, all right. I'm like, yo. I'm thinking like, yo, got me hot under the collar sometimes. I ain't gonna lie, but
Oh man, thank you, thank you.
but I mean, is it? I mean, I could see that you're definitely spicy when it comes to your expression in videos. But
Yeah.
is that something that I mean? Because you said you've always been confident, but is that something that you felt over time, or is it always a thing that you felt confident, but it's just now that you're really getting a chance to express it?
Well, I think I've always been confident, but I've always, with my style, I've always just kind of like let it evolve with me. So now, like, I'm 25, I'm a woman. And so, I kind of just feel like my style should be things that I would really wear. Like, that's, every look in the video, like, those are looks that I would really put on. And even like with the new visual that we're working on, because we're shooting a separate video to Time's Up, the whole entire song with
I
all
like
my
that.
family.
I like that. It's like a tease at the end of a video and then bringing it as a
Exactly.
new video. I like that.
Exactly. So, and that in the particular Time's Up video, the one that we're shooting, is just like, I think with my style, like, I think my fans are really gonna be like, oh, she's really like on some, like grown woman stuff. Not more so of like, oh, I'm just showing off my body, da 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 da. It's lingerie, that whole vibe. But I think just the elevation of my style. So just, you know what I mean? It's gonna be a bit different. This whole entire visual is actually way different from what I think anybody would expect from me, from what my fans would expect from me, so I'm really eager to give them that. But I just do what I feel. Like,
Yeah.
I just wear what I feel. If I like it and I think it's cute, I'll put it on. My style is always changing, it's always evolving.
I
It's
mean,
always
you're evolving as well. So it seems like, every video and every, piece of project that you've done, like, it's always an evolution of like the
yeah.
true essence of who Bahja Rodriguez
Exactly.
is, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
no, for sure.
and I wanted to touch on like the the state of R&B, because obviously
Yeah.
you falling into R&B for the most part. For me growing up, like if we're talking Genuine, we're talking D'Angelo, we're talking Casey and JoJo, John B,
Mhm.
Aaliyah, Keith Sweat. These
Right.
were my jams. This is what I was listening to. This was like the
Of
heyday,
course.
like the golden era, I feel, of like R&B. And obviously
For
it's
sure.
and of course it's evolved over the years, and there's always like different sounds that give the essence of R&B but something new flavor to it. And
Yeah.
I feel like you're bringing back an era, but make it giving a more modern take on it. So was this something that you were conscious of, knowing that the R&B that was played in the 90s and the early 2000s, was this something that you wanted to recreate but have it in your own flavor and bring it to a modern time?
I don't really think it was something I did intentionally, but that is the music that I grew up on. So like my mom, once she noticed that I was into music, because I was a really big Britney Spears fan. I'm still a big
Oh
Britney
wow.
Spears fan,
Okay.
but that Britney Spears is who made me really want to do music for real and be like an actual pop star. And so once she noticed me taking like a liking to that type of life, she started to show me women who look like me, and artists who look like me, who also were big in their own right and did the same thing that I did. So everybody you just named, these are all of the things that my mom was listening to in the car and constantly playing. So, so as a kid, it's like that really shaped me, and it shaped how I am as an artist now. I don't even think it's like an intentional thing. I think it's just kind of like that was my base. And so because like those are the people who initially taught me how to sing, and I learned how to sing through imitation. So I would imitate everybody, and slowly I started to develop my own voice. But that's how I learned how to sing. So I think that was just that's kind of how it happened. But me personally, I feel like with R&B right now, I don't really think it's in a bad place. And in fact, I think, really it's in a good place. I think we
Mm.
have the Hers, the LMIs, we have the Summer Walkers, we have Ari Lennox, we have SZA, we have all of these girls who are recreating R&B and what that looks like, and I
Mm.
feel like for a long time, we kind of had like the rappers dabbling into R&B kind of with the tune
Like with the
like
hooks as well.
exactly, but now we're in a place where we have these really, really solid female R&B artists. Oh, Chloe and Halle. Oh, Chloe and Haley, I'm sorry. It's like we have a lot of girls who in their own right, they are redefining what R&B looks like. And
Mm.
to me, I feel like it's really important because we have a lot of black women who are in this space, and oh, Normani, like who are just creating this new lane of female R&B and what that looks like. We've always had male R&B singers. We've had the Chris Browns and August Alsina, Trey Songz, all of those type of guys. But now I think that for my generation, because all of these women are around my age or close to my age, I think we're in a really good place.
Mm.
And I'm really glad that we have, these women who are mainstream artists who are pushing R&B forward because it's definitely needed. I think
Mm.
R&B is in a good place. I remember a few years ago, I used to always hear like, oh, R&B's dead, R&B's dead. And it's like, we just had this pop, this resurgence
Mm.
of just female R&B and girls who are really singing though, who really can sing. And it's just been, it's exciting to me. Like I'm excited to see where R&B continues to go. Because right now I think it's in a good place. I think it's
Mm.
going in a great direction.
But to follow up on your point as well, like, something interesting that came up recently from our end on the UK, like we got the Brit Awards that are happening soon,
Uh-huh.
major award show. And
Yeah.
what I've noticed is that there's a category for best pop slash R&B act. So it's combined together already. And the
Hmm.
ones the names that are nominated is like Adele, Ed Sheeran, Dua Lipa, Griff, and Joy Crooks. and
Mm.
and not to take anything away from them because they're absolutely amazing talents and
Yeah, for sure.
amazing people, but I don't personally see it as a category specific to R&B. I don't
Well,
think that those guys fall specifically to that, which
yeah,
goes to show to me that for something like award shows like this that are bringing with another genre, that
yeah,
it's not really being fully acknowledged as like R&B to be centered as its own category for the
right.
main award show. So for you, like you said, it's in a good place, but hearing that, like, does that change your perspective in terms of like what can R&B do to to be, because obviously on our side we've got like UK drill, we've got rap,
Right.
we've got all these
Right.
genres that are really popping and it's commercialized, it's really you can see it on Spotify, it's popping. But
Yeah.
where is R&B for you in that respect then, if we're talking award shows doing things like this? And not to
I
take
think
away anything from the Brit Awards, because
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I think, honestly, R&B is a genre that really, has not been acknowledged like it should. And especially like in the late 2000s where we're at right now, I think constantly, we're having like even here in America, like they'll put an artist like Doja Cat, who is a pop artist, they'll put her in R&B just because she's a black woman or a mixed race woman or whatever, but I think that like to me, that's kind of always been a problem. I think that people try to put pop and R&B together because we got to understand that first with pop music is just nothing but popular music. That's how it started out.
facts.
Now pop has become a genre within its own, and it's like we know what pop music is when we hear it, right? But I think that too, a lot of these R&B songs, they are popular. To me personally, I listen
Mm,
to Adele, I listen to Ed Sheeran. I personally don't believe that they're R&B artists. I feel like they're pop artists. You know what I
mm,
mean? But I think it's like R&B is kind like on a award show level, on an
mm.
industry level. I think that R&B, we still have some work to do there, and I don't think that it's really on the artists more so as it is the people who are in charge of these categories, the
Right.
people who are making these decisions. R&B, it is its own category, and it's
Yeah.
totally different from pop. And there are black women in pop, you know what I'm saying? There are black women in country, there are black women in, all different genres of music, and just black people, period. But I think that the whole pop slash R&B or R&B hip hop, it's like kind of a disservice to R&B because R&B and hip hop are not the same. Pop and
Mm,
R&B are not the same. You know what I mean? But I think that lies on the people who are making those decisions, the
mm,
people who are saying like, okay, well, we're gonna just make it pop and R&B,
mm,
like it because to me, honestly, pop and R&B, they just are totally different, that they don't even belong in the same category. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I'm kind of glad that you were mentioning that because I wanted to get the distinction of like, where we stand as far as like, obviously when R&B in its heyday, like I was talking about earlier, like you knew
Yeah,
like the whole R&B vibe. You knew it was set
for
concrete
sure.
and it paved the way for artists like yourselves that are bringing that R&B flavor to the
Yeah.
service. So I guess for you, like, are you conscious of the fact that you are really trying to bring like R&B to the surface? It's like, this is me, this is what R&B brings as serves as justice as, and that's what I'm trying to bring to the table.
I mean, for me, I think I love R&B music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's I get in the car and I never listen to rap, honestly. Like I listen to rap, but my particular genre of music that I'm gonna listen to is R&B. I
Mm.
absolutely love it. So I don't even think, to me it's more so of a like thought of like, I have to, like, I'm trying to push this forward. I just believe that I'm a part of the women who are already pushing it forward. And I
Mm.
believe in 5 years, maybe 4 or 5 years, we'll be having a totally different conversation about R&B. Because to me, R&B is like, it has longevity to it.
Mm.
I believe rap has longevity to it too, but I believe that people never stop being in love, right? So it's like when you're in love or when you're heartbroken or anything dealing with those type of emotions, people forever down the line are gonna feel that way. That's why we're still listening to the Princes and the Michael Jacksons and the Whitney Houstons, because they invoke an emotion in us. You know what I mean?
Mm.
That everybody feels. It's a girl somewhere right now who could listen to a Whitney Houston song, Pretty Young Thing by Michael Jackson, or Kiss by Prince, and instantly feel like, you know what I mean? I relate to this, even though she
Mm.
might not have ever even known who these artists were or have been living when they were living, but it's just like, that's the way that music works. So I
Mm.
think subconsciously, all of us are, we're doing this for the preservation of R&B, but
Mm.
I think really we're creating what we feel is in our hearts.
Mm.
That's what I try to do. At least I just try to create what I feel, and I think people relate to it. I think women relate to it, men relate to it. I think people relate to being in love. They relate to being heartbroken. They relate to, trying to come up and nobody believes in you, or struggles with friends or whatever. It's just like, we have as R&B artists, we have a different way of like just bringing that to the forefront. And I
Yeah.
think an R&B artist, and especially just me being one as well, it's like, my job is to make people feel. My
Mm.
job is to have somebody listen to a song, and they feel like, okay, this is everything I wanted to say, but I just didn't know how to say it. And I have moments like that with artists that I listen to, and I'm like, this is exactly what I wanted to say, but I
Mm.
just didn't know how to say it. But it's like they
Mm.
said it so perfect. And
Mm.
I think that's what keeps me a fan of music. That's what keeps me wanting to do music, is like just making that connection. There's songs I used to listen to as a kid, and I hear them now and I'm like, oh, that's what they meant. That's what they were saying. Like, because now you get it. It's like you listen
Mm.
to it and you hear it and you like it. And then when you get older, you really start to understand it. So I think it's just like, R&B, it has to be preserved. I think
Mm.
right now everybody wants to rap and do the rap thing, and I love it. I love rap music. I think it's fun. I love to be turned in the party to all the rappers, all the
Twerking, all
songs.
that stuff.
Oh yeah, of course. But I do think that like we have to preserve R&B, because people still need to feel. People
Mm.
still need to love, and people still need to hear songs where they can be honest and vulnerable, and say, hey, I am heartbroken. That did
Mm.
hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I feel
Mm.
like right now we're in this era where nobody wants to look soft. Nobody wants to look like, oh, I got my feelings hurt or anything like that. And it's like, me as a person, I welcome that. Like,
Mm.
I welcome all my emotions. I welcome feeling stupid about a guy, or being upset, or heartbroken, or being super in love. I embrace that, because
Mm.
it's a part of the human experience. And I think as artists, we just make the soundtrack to the human experience that people are already having, you
Do,
know?
do you know what I'm gonna take away? Soundtrack to the human experience. I'm gonna take that as a tagline. Like that, I love this so much. Like, you're giving me the keys
Wow, thank
already.
you.
Speaking of love, I mean, you found love,
Yeah.
in music, and clearly, like, with Nashby, you guys found love, and being that, he's a producer and you being a
Yeah.
music artist. I mean, I tend to find that people you end up falling in love with, for the most part, tend to have similar interests to you. We're like, Was
Of
that the
course.
way it kind of panned out?
Well, see, I have been knowing him probably since I first started out. I did a song on my first ever EP, and he produced it. And his friend Forte Bowie, he's an amazing artist and songwriter. But he actually wrote the record, and he was the one who reached out and wanted to work.
Oh,
Forte did.
wow.
So that's how we met. And then I kind of didn't really see him around like that. Like I would see him in sessions here and there.
Mm.
But then it was like one time in particular, maybe like 4 years after I met him, and he like asked me on a date. And at first I wasn't even gonna go, honestly. But then I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna just go. Like I'm gonna just see, because I wasn't in a place where I really even was like
Right.
wanting to have a boyfriend or anything like that.
You
So I
weren't
was
emotionally ready at that point, I guess.
right, yeah, yeah. Well, at least that's how I felt. Like
Right.
I was open to it, but it wasn't like something I was searching for, you know.
Right.
And especially with him, I didn't really know like what was his angle. So,
Mm.
you know, we ended up going on that date, and then ever since then we've kind of been like locked in, you know. But it's just I think being with somebody who's also an artist, it has its peaks and its valleys, because you know, music is both of our first love, right? So it's like we're gonna dedicate the most time and energy, like we really nurture music a lot,
Mm.
you know. And so I think like, you know, now, you know, we're in a place where, you know, him and I love him, you know, everything like that, but we're so career driven right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
you know, that it's like, even to the point where like we don't post each other, we don't do anything like that, because me personally, I just feel like I don't want people to come to my page and just associate me with him, or go to
Yeah.
his page and associate him with me. Like I always wanted
It's
it
not mixing business with pleasure.
absolutely no,
Mm.
like he, you know, and whatever I need, he's there to help, and vice versa. You know, if I need advice about anything, or you know, if he needs, hey, do you know anybody who could do this, or what you think about this, you know, we're always there for each other in that respect. But you know, I think it's been interesting, to say the least. It's been very interesting but
Yeah.
enjoyable.
I think a private life is a happy life, because
It is.
you know how, like, you see celebrities all the time, celebrity couples. There's always breakups. There's
Yeah,
always this problem. They're getting divorced. They're getting a divorce settlement. There's like all that sort of stuff going on, and
yeah,
some people might not be as happy, and especially being in the spotlight, cameras are always on you. So to think that, obviously, if you separate that and knowing that you're just doing you and it's all about the music, then people will
yeah,
just focus on you and not having to worry about, oh, what's going on with them two? Like, what's happening? So you're
yeah.
separating all that. So no one really has to know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that's just how, you know, I choose to keep it. You know, like him and I, we have a great relationship where it's very private. We don't really broadcast anything to the world in the way that we, because see, when we first started dating, we was so excited. Like we was taking pictures, all of that.
Oh, that's like
Posting.
the honeymoon period. That's normal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, but now we a bit more, you know, we
It's
be
like,
so yeah, it's a bit different for sure. But
yeah.
you know, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he, you know, gets it as well.
Yeah.
And
It's
you know,
beautiful.
we vibe well together.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. I like
Yeah.
how beautiful things are turning up for you. Like, everything has
Thank
been
you.
so to the point that it's just going on a journey of superstardom and happiness, and that's how it should be.
Thank you.
You know, I mean, let's talk about your EP as well. Like,
Yeah.
Pretty Girls Don't Cry, that you released last year.
Yeah.
It's very hard hitting, like a very banging
Thank,
EP, by the way, I have to say.
thank you.
And just suggesting from the title, Pretty Girls Don't Cry. I mean, you're a
Yeah.
pretty girl, but it sounds like you don't really cry. But I got to ask you, when's the last time you cried?
You know what's so funny? I kind of cry a little often. I'll cry if I watch a movie. It's just so sad. Last time I cried, I was watching the new Spider-Man movie.
Oh,
And
really?
yes, I just thought it was just like so sweet and sentimental. You know, I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I just thought it was just so sweet. And it did make me cry. You know, the thing with the title was, it's not even about like, oh, we don't cry. You know, it's
Mm.
more so just like wipe your tears. You know, it's
Mm.
like, okay, we do cry, we do feel, but we got to get back up though. You know,
Right, I understand.
we got to figure this out. So with me, it's like, you know, I feel like all women are beautiful, first off. So it's like, you know, for me, I just wanted to create a soundtrack or create an EP, you know, just for, and this was really for women, but I just wanted to create something that like women could listen to and be like, you know what, like yeah, he really did have me messed up, but it's cool. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm
Mm,
gonna still be me. I try to empower women through
mm,
like those rough moments. Like I've been heartbroken before, like, and went through every emotion that comes with it, and it hurts. You know what I mean? So it's like I just wanted to create something for women to be able to listen to, scream out, and sing along to, and cry or whatever they need to do, and feel better. You know, after
mm.
like I said, I welcome emotion, I welcome tears, but at the same time, it's like we don't always have to cry. We could cry, but we could wipe our tears and we could get up and we
Okay.
can, you know what I mean? We can love again. We can be happy within ourselves. Like we don't even have to be focused on whatever it is with this guy. Like I just try to just make it like for my women, like, oh, he was such a dove anyways. Like if he got you feeling like that, it was a dove anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like I
yeah,
just try to make them feel like they're the prize. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And sometimes I'm using my music to speak to myself, you know, like
Mm,
whenever I need that, you know, moment of okay, you're really that girl. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're really beautiful, you really are boss, you on your way to where you need to go. Like sometimes I'm speaking to myself too. You know what I mean? And
mm.
it speaks to them. And I just I can't stress enough how enjoyable it is to get on Twitter or get in person with people or on my Instagram, and it's just like wow, like you really got me through this. You got me through this heartbreak, or you got me through how I was feeling, you know, and
Mm,
that's really why I do it. You know, like I
mm,
do it for that exact reason. Like you were able to help me get through something, you
yeah.
know. So
So it's pretty therapeutic for you
it
then. Like,
is.
yeah. I mean,
It is.
the standout track to me was No No.
Oh wow, thank you.
And you know, the line that stood out to me was always riding with you. Now I'm riding solo, and it's
Yeah,
testament to what you were just saying. It's just like, you know,
absolutely.
you don't have to worry about, you know, the past and dealing with all the crap that you did. Now it's just
Yeah.
like I'm doing me, and I'm happy for it.
Yeah. And you know, that's just like that's where I was with that song. You know, I'm just like, okay, like it's cool. I'm just, you know, I'm by myself and that's fine. Like, you know, you got to be able to find love and peace and happiness without anybody. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? And it's like, I wanted to translate that in that
mm,
song. Like, that's really what I wanted people to gather from that. It's like, we not stunting none of that. Like, we gonna keep going. Like, if that man don't know how to love you right, if he don't know how to be the man that you need him to be, bye. Like, yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah.
you know, like see you later. And we don't have to stress it. Like, cause I always tell people, I'm like, today is the youngest I'm gonna ever be in my life.
Wow.
Every day I wake up, this is the youngest I'm gonna ever be today. So I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm gonna enjoy my life. You know, I'm gonna enjoy my 20s. And it's like, yeah, we might make mistakes. I might get heartbroken. I might cry a little bit. But I'm gonna enjoy this life I got. I don't got no kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm enjoying myself. Like now I want all my fans to do the
Yes.
same. You know, like
Yes.
enjoy yourself, enjoy your life. Like, and if someone is treating you the way that you don't want to be treated, you have the option to walk away, no matter how bad it hurts.
I think your I think one of your tags should be on Instagram. Enjoy yourself. Straight to
Right.
the
Oh,
point.
for
Straight.
real.
Yeah. Straight. No bullshit. Enjoy yourself.
Enjoy
Done.
yourself.
Done. And I mean, you haven't done a lot in the way of collaborations, like we talked about at the very beginning. Like, you know, you worked
Yeah.
with a few artists, like with Neilà, and I noticed there was one that you did with Jacob Latimore as
Yeah.
well, that you did as well. Is it because like you really want to fully establish yourself as a? I mean, you've been doing solo work since 2015, but
Yeah.
is it because you really want to establish fully yourself as a solo artist before starting to, you know, bring more collaborations in?
Yeah, that was kind of always my theory. I didn't want people to associate a song with me just because of the feature that was on it.
Mm.
But I think now I'm in a place because right now I'm working on my album. So
Mm.
I'm in a place now where like I know exactly what I'm trying to do. So features definitely are part of this album. My fans have been wanting me to do features so bad. They're like, when are we gonna get somebody else on the song? When are we gonna get more? See, my fans are real vocal. They don't play the music with me.
I
They be
mean,
like, where's
in a
the
bit,
video?
in a bit, like literally, I've got so many fan questions, and they literally were saying and expressing all that. But yeah, like, go ahead.
Yeah, they really, you know, they really stay on top of me.
Mm,
But for me, it had always been like I never wanted it to look like, oh, I got a co-sign from this artist.
right.
But now where I'm at with it is like, you know, I feel like I've been able to build myself enough to the point where it won't even look like that. It'll just look like
Mm,
it's my song featuring this person.
yeah.
So that's pretty much what we've been doing a lot of with this album is like, you know, solidifying this music, solidifying who we feel would sound the best on the song,
Mm.
and then just moving that way.
Yeah. And then I mean, who would you like to collaborate with? Like let's get into that.
And I would love to collaborate with Flo, Lotto,
Okay,
um,
okay.
Brent Fayez. I love Summer Walker, love
Nice.
her voice. I think we would do an incredible record together. My dream feature is like Drake, of course. I love
Everyone.
Yeah,
Everyone wants him.
you know, I love Drake though. Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
really a Drake fan, so I really would enjoy that. Those are just what I could think of like off the top of my head right now. Just
Mhm.
people who I feel like okay, they would sound good with what I have going on.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, like it's kind of like whatever with me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm really easygoing.
Yeah.
My thing is always making sure that the feature artist actually likes the record. I
Yeah.
don't ever want anybody to do a record just because like I'm paying them or we have like just a personal relationship and they don't really like it. I
Mm.
actually want them to enjoy the record that they on so they could give me the best possible verse
Yeah.
that they could give.
Again, organic.
Right.
What about UK artists? Have you heard of any of our people on our side? A lot of
So
people
I
seem to
love
not really know a
Georgia.
lot.
Yeah, no, I love Georgia.
Oh, nice.
Um, I love Lady Lashure. I think that's how you pronounce it.
It's it's Lady Leisha.
Lady Leisure. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I love her though. I've been following her on Twitter for a minute. So I used to see her
Okay.
freestyle stuff all the time. She's one of my faves. I really like just that whole UK drill scene that they have. I don't really have particular artists that I like, but I just hear it. But those are just the two like off of my head that I could really just think about. You know, obviously I love like Adele, the Ed Sheerans, all of that stuff. But I mean, it's like a few artists over there that I know, and then it's like a few that I don't. My thing, I always try to be like very as well versed as I can possibly be in music. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
I think that the UK to me has a really, really different type of sound.
Mm.
And I've never been to the UK, but I actually would like to go and work because I feel like everything I've never heard a song from a UK artist that I didn't like.
That's a
I
good
can
sign.
honestly say that. I can honestly say that.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a different vibe over there. Like I
Yeah.
just want to tap in and see what's up, you know?
I mean, you will turn up. Like a lot of American artists I've been speaking with that've never come to London, and then when they do come to London, they're
Yeah.
like, when do I come back? When do I come back? It's too soon. Like
Right.
we need to come back again on a regular basis and make it my
Yeah.
home. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say like drill artists. There's two off the top of my head that I feel would work, especially like known names in that. Unknown
Yeah.
T, Unknown
Okay.
T. That's the first one. Yeah, I went to a launch party last night for
Okay.
a publicist that's starting her own company,
Oh,
and
cool.
she supported Unknown T for his journey, and he's one of the
Wow.
biggest UK drill artists in our country. So
Wow.
so that's definitely one. Unknown T,
I
and
gotta tap in.
yeah, check him out, Unknown T, and then another one off the top of my head would be Central C.
Okay.
That will definitely be two drill artists to worth checking into
I'm
because
gonna
they're
check
hot.
them both out.
They're hot. They're actually
Yeah.
hot on the fire right now. So
Yeah.
you know, I know there's many other like UK drill artists. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry if I
Yeah.
missed you out, but they're the ones that stick out in my head specifically.
Of course. I'm gonna definitely make sure I tap in. I love new music. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure I tap all the way in.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do, you know, I'll DM you afterwards, and I'll let you know if any other names that come
Yeah,
up. So you know, I'll keep in touch with you and let you know what's really
for
popping over here.
sure.
You know.
Please do.
I
Please do.
I will, I will. I mean, so what's next for you? I mean, obviously, you know, you've spoken a lot of your journey, and I really appreciate your time on it.
No problem.
You know, so what are we looking at? Tours, performances, appearances, obviously new music that you're working on and an album.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at now?
So right now we're looking at a new visual that'll be coming within this first quarter. And then I'm also working on my album. So that will be released hopefully second quarter. But if I can't get it out second quarter, I'm not gonna rush it and I'll put it out third quarter.
Mm,
You know, I never like to rush my music. Also, too, I'm I see it's like my fans get so excited, so I try not to say certain stuff because I don't
yeah,
want them
yeah,
to get
just tone it
excited.
down. Yeah.
Right now what we're trying to do is put together like my own tour where I do like 5 or 6 cities, come and perform and headline the show. That's what we've been working on right now. So definitely a lot of performances, definitely a lot of new music for sure. And really on a business side right now, I'm just still cultivating my business. I have a hair company, and we sell like hair extensions and stuff, but we're branching out into products as well. So we'll just be releasing more products throughout the year. And that's really it. Just expansion really is what we on all 2022. We just expanding into every avenue. So
Well, expansion and evolution is the key terms for you, and I'm really excited
absolutely.
to see where things go for you. Well, Bahja, I want to absolutely thank you. We've
Thank
covered
you.
through a lot, and I really do appreciate your time. I know you got more famous shit to do, so I ain't gonna
Oh
hold
my
you up
God.
much longer. But thank you again for taking the time to speak to me. I really enjoyed this conversation.
No, thank you so much for having me. And I just appreciate you taking the time out to even interview me. It really means a lot. So I'm excited. You know what I mean? And I can't wait for us to talk soon, like when the album comes out. So
I look. It will happen.
we
I
gotta
will
come
speak. I
back
will,
and talk again.
and I hope one day that you'll be able to come to London and we might even be able to do it face to
Yes,
face.
I definitely would love to do that. I really want to come to London. So
Well, I mean, like I said, Unknown T in Central C. Check those drill artists out
I
as well.
definitely
So,
will.
yeah, and I'll DM you after this. But I mean, if you want to tell our
Sure.
audience where they can catch you on all the socials and what's coming up for you, the floor is yours.
Okay, for sure. So all my socials are at Bahja Rodriguez. That's Twitter, Instagram, that's TikTok, Facebook. On YouTube, it's the same thing. You could just go subscribe to my channel. We got new music on the way, new album on the way, new visuals on the way. So make sure you stay tuned. And for everything that I left out, if you want to, listen to my music, Apple Music, Spotify, same thing, Bahja Rodriguez. But anything I didn't mention, you can just go to my website, which is www.bahjarodriguez.co.
All right. Well, Bahja is a brilliant prospect coming
Thank
up,
you.
and I've enjoyed your EP, and I
Thank you
cannot
so much.
wait for the album. I cannot wait for what things are looking like for you this year. So, and I'm hoping, like I said, you come to London, we tear shit up, and
Yeah.
that just enjoy yourself, like you said.
Thank you. Thank you so much. No, I appreciate it. I can't wait to come to As soon as I touch down, you're the first person I'm gonna hit because I don't know nobody over there. So
Hey, we're gonna turn it down in London town.
that's
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
That's right. I'm ready.
All right. Well, thank you so much, sweetheart, and enjoy the
Thank
rest of
you
your
so
day.
much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right, peace out, baby.
All right. Bye bye.